Emma arrived in Vancouver late in the evening, tired but proud of herself. It was her first big work trip alone, the first time she felt like her life was finally moving forward. The city lights outside the taxi window blurred as rain softly touched the glass. Everything felt new, quiet, and full of promise. She checked into the hotel, thanked the front desk, and walked down the long hallway with her small suitcase rolling behind her. The hotel was calm. Soft yellow lights glowed above each door. The air smelled clean and warm. Emma found room 6, slipped in her keycard, and pushed the door open. The light inside was already on. She stopped. Her heart skipped. Someone was in the room. Near the window stood a man and a woman. They were close, talking in low voices, not fighting, not laughing, chatting like they shared something private. Emma's breath caught for a second. No one moved. The man slowly turned around. He looked surprised, but not angry. More like confused. "I thought you weren't coming tonight," he said gently. Emma's hands shook. "I'm sorry, I think this is my room." The woman frowned. "This is room 614. We checked in an hour ago." Emma glanced at the door number again. Then at her card, her room. The air felt heavy. "This must be a mistake," Emma said quietly. The woman crossed her arms, clearly annoyed. Hotels always mess things up. The man stepped forward. "I'm Daniel. Promise we didn't mean to be here." "I'm Emma," she replied. Their eyes met for a moment longer than necessary. Something about him felt calm, safe. The woman sighed loudly. "I'll go to the front desk and fix this." She grabbed her purse and walked out. The door closed. Silence filled the room. Emma and Daniel stood there, to strangers in a space suddenly too quiet. "I'm really sorry," Daniel said. "This is awkward." "It's okay," Emma said softly. "Just unexpected." They both laughed lightly, the tension easing. "Want to sit while we wait?" Daniel asked. Emma nodded. They sat on the edge of the bed, leaving a small space between them. So Daniel said, "What brings you here?" "Work," Emma replied. "A new chapter, I guess." He smiled gently. "Same. I travel a lot now. Do you like it?" she asked. He hesitated. Some days she understood that pause. It sounded like someone carrying memories. "I just ended a long relationship," Emma said quietly. "I needed a fresh start." Daniel looked at her with understanding. "I lost someone I loved," he said softly. "Travel helps me breathe." Emma felt her chest tighten. "I'm sorry. Thank you." The hallway stayed quiet. They talked about small things, favorite cities, late-night food, work stress. But behind every word was something deeper. Like both were slowly opening wounds they usually kept closed. "It's strange," Daniel said. "Meeting someone this way." Emma nodded. "Life surprises us." Just then, footsteps echoed. The woman returned. "They moved us to another floor." Daniel stood but paused. "It was really nice meeting you, Emma." "Nice meeting you too." Eyes held for a second. Then he followed the woman out. The door closed. Again, Emma sat alone. The room felt different now. Emptier. She unpacked slowly, her thoughts stuck on Daniel. His calm voice, his sadness. The way he listened. That night she lay in bed staring at the ceiling. Sometimes life placed people in your path for a reason. The next morning, she went down to the hotel cafe for coffee and heard a familiar voice. "Emma." She turned. Daniel stood there, smiling softly. Alone. Her heart lifted. "They moved us last night," he said. "But I hoped I'd see you." "I'm glad you did," she replied. They sat together with warm cups between them. Daniel spoke about losing his fiancée in an accident 2 years ago, about how silence in his apartment hurt more than busy airports, about how traveling made grief quieter. Emma listened. Her eyes soft. She told him about her breakup, how love faded slowly, not badly, just quietly. "It's funny," Daniel said, "how broken hearts meet by accident." Maybe not by accident, Emma said. They walked along the water later that day, talking about dreams and fears. The cold air brushed their faces, but neither noticed. For the first time in months, Emma felt light. As the sun lowered, Daniel stopped. I leave tomorrow, he said. Her heart sank. Me too. Silence wrapped around them. Meeting you reminded me I can feel again, Daniel said quietly. You reminded me that starting over isn't lonely, Emma replied. They exchanged numbers. A soft hug followed, warm and careful, and Emma realized something important. Some strangers walk into your life not to stay forever, but to wake your heart. And this was only the beginning. Emma didn't expect Daniel to become part of her days after that morning coffee, but somehow he did. They met again that afternoon by chance in the hotel lobby, both heading out at the same time. A simple hello turned into a walk, and the walk turned into hours of talking. The city felt warmer with him beside her. The noise of traffic faded as their words filled the space between them. They shared stories quickly, like people afraid time would steal the moment. Emma talked about growing up in a small town, dreaming of big opportunities, and working late nights to prove herself. Daniel spoke about his love for photography, how he once dreamed of opening a small studio, and how life changed after loss. Made everything feel fragile. There was no awkward silence, only comfort. They laughed at silly things like getting lost on side streets and choosing the wrong bus. They shared fries from a food stand by the harbor. Emma hadn't smiled this much in months. As evening came, the sky turned soft orange and pink. The water reflected the colors like a painting. I forgot what peace feels like, Emma said quietly. Daniel looked at her. Me too. They walked slowly, not wanting the day to end. But reality waited. Later that night, Emma returned to her room, heart full and mind spinning. She sat on the bed and stared at her phone, hoping for a message. It came, Daniel. I had a really good day. Thank you, Emma smiled and typed back. Me too. I didn't want it to end. They kept talking until sleep pulled them apart. The next morning came too fast. Suitcases stood open. Clothes were folded with care. But Emma's hands moved slowly, like she was delaying goodbye. Her phone buzzed. Daniel, coffee before we leave. Emma, yes, please. They met in the cafe again, just like the first time. But now it felt different, familiar, comfortable. Daniel looked tired but happy. I wish we had more time. Emma said, maybe time isn't what matters, he replied. Softly, maybe moments are. They finished their drinks in silence. Outside, taxis lined up. People rushed. Life kept moving. Daniel stood beside her, hands in his pockets. Emma, he said, voice low. I didn't expect to meet anyone here. I came to escape memories, but you didn't erase my past. You reminded me I can live with it. Her eyes filled. You helped me believe again. He smiled sadly. I'm scared to go back to my empty place. She stepped closer. You won't be empty anymore. You'll carry hope. They stood inches apart, not touching, but feeling everything. I don't want this to be goodbye forever. Daniel said, it doesn't have to be, Emma whispered. They hugged longer this time, stronger, like they were holding on to something, fragile and beautiful. Then they pulled away. Daniel brushed a tear from her cheek. Promise you'll message me when you land. I promise. They walked to separate taxis. Emma watched as his car pulled. Away, her chest ached. But it wasn't pain. It was longing mixed with hope. The flight home felt endless. She stared out the window, replaying every laugh, every look, every word. Her phone buzzed when she landed. Daniel, I already miss you. She smiled through tears. Emma. Me too. Days passed. Then weeks. They talked every morning and every night about work stress, about dreams, about memories. Daniel sent photos he took during his travels. Emma sent pictures of sunsets. Outside her apartment, they slowly became part of each other's lives. But distance is heavy. Some nights Emma cried quietly, wishing he was there. Some days Daniel felt the old loneliness return. One night, after a long silence on the phone, Daniel finally said, "I'm scared, Emma." "Of what?" she asked softly. "Of feeling this much and losing it again." Heart squeezed. "Love always comes with risk," he sighed. "I don't know if I'm strong enough." She closed her eyes. "You are? And I'm here." Another pause. "Emma, I think I need to face my life, not run from it anymore." "What does that mean?" she whispered. "I want to come see you." Her breath caught. "Really?" "Yes. I don't want our story to stay in a hotel room." Tears rolled down her cheeks. "I want that too." 2 weeks later, Emma waited at the airport, hands shaking. People walked past. Time felt slow. Then she saw him. Daniel stood near the gate. Ran toward each other. The hug was strong, real, full of emotion. "I'm here," he whispered. "You're really here." They pulled back, smiling through tears. "I was afraid," Daniel admitted. "We'll move forward together." From that day on, life was imperfect. They argued sometimes, they struggled with distance at first, but they chose each other. Daniel moved closer to Ma's city months later and started his. Cooking dinner together, late night talks about dreams. One evening, sitting on a park bench watching the sunset, Daniel said, "If that hotel never messed up our rooms, I would still be running from life, afraid to open my heart." He took her hand. Strangers changed everything. She leaned her head on his shoulder. Sometimes the wrong door opens to the right future. The wind moved softly through the trees. Their fingers stayed locked together, and both knew. One simple mistake had turned into the beginning of a love neither expected. Wasn't an accident. It was fate quietly rewriting their lives.